thumbs up, which means we are live with Facebook. This is our regular meeting of November the 4th, and we will call this meeting to order. We'll first stand for a pledge of allegiance, followed by an invocation from Alderman Vaughn, and then a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alderman Vaughn, if you would, please.
Let us pray. Good evening, Heavenly Father. Good evening, Lord Jesus. Good evening, Holy Spirit. Good evening, Heavenly Family. Again, Father God, as if you were a handmaid servant, that you allowed your angel to watch over all day long, Father God, protecting us from all hurt, harm, and dangers. And Father God, we thank you for allowing your Holy Spirit to bring us back to this appointed place where we were elected by the people and for the peoples. We thank you. We thank you for your achievement, Father God, and most of all, what you're allowing us to do, the changes that you're allowing us to make. We pray that you would just continue to guide our direction, Father God, that we do the things that pleases you, Father God, not man, but to please you. Praying that you will look at our heart, and we will look at the heart of every decision that we make, and we will make that decision from our heart, not from our mind. We thank you, God. We love you just because of who you are and what you are. And Lord God, we can't do nothing without you. Thank you for controlling our destiny, not leaving us in the hand of no man. God, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here this evening. Our first order of business will be approval of the official agenda with the consented items. I do have one change. We're going to remove from the agenda item 5 under HR, which is the authorization to advertise for the finance and grants manager. We want to do that in conjunction with a job description for the chief financial officer, which we don't currently have. So we will just make that part of an effort that we'll put forward at either the next board meeting or the board meeting after that.
Mayor, may I have you recognized?
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I know on Friday when we met, that was on the agenda. Maybe I can consult with you afterwards. I was just trying to see what's the rationale for moving off the agenda.
Well, because we don't have a chief financial officer job description, and they overlap in such a way that I felt like it would be good to go ahead and have that one before we wrap this one up, and so that we are making sure that they comport with one another.
Okay, and that's number 5, to make sure, Mayor, well, ask you number 5. Obviously, just one friendly housekeeping matter, the department head is obviously of the opinion, I have not talked with her, and we discussed it on Friday in a very limited way. The department head is obviously of the opinion that she needs some assistance, and is this going to preclude her from having the necessary staff in whatever manner? I understand your points well taken, but is that going to preclude her from being able to have some duties and tasks fulfilled while we wait on that?
No, I think we'll bring it forward at the next board meeting and be able to manage that. And if you think about it, we're about to approach the holiday season.
Yes, ma'am.
It is usually difficult to get someone on
Sure, I
board during the
understand.
holiday season. So I feel like this will not delay that.
Well, it's friendly, of course. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah,
Certainly.
thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, any other changes? Alderman Moreland, any changes?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Sistron?
No, ma'am.
All right. Alderman Skinner?
No, ma'am.
And Mr. Brooks? All right. Alderman Pope?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
No, ma'am, Mayor, thank
All
you.
right. Alderman Vaughn?
No, ma'am, thank you.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion for the approval of the official agenda with the consented item and with the one deletion? I have a motion from Alderman Brooks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Pokup. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. And I will read the consented agenda items. First is consideration of the minutes of the October 17th, 2025 work session of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Then we have consideration of the minutes of the October 21, 2025 recess meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. We have consideration of calling for the first public hearing under Mayor's business to modify the aggressive panhandling ordinance to include additional language addressing soliciting only during daylight hours. Then under board business, we have consideration of the reappointment of Chris Smiley to the Golden Triangle Regional Landfill Authority Board for the term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31, 2029. Under engineering, we have consideration of approving general service agreement and task order 101 for an hourly not to exceed amount $27,200 for Heflin Engineering LLC to provide traffic management support for the South Montgomery corridor. 2 is consideration of renewing the construction inspection services contract with Mark Shaw. 3 is consideration of renewing the tree maintenance services contracts with Tree Huggers LLC and Jackson Land Services. Under Finance Administration, we have request approval of purchase of agenda software from Civic Plus for a cost of $15,657.50 for the first year and $14,700 each year going forward. Number 3 is request authorization to enter into 60-month leases with Enterprise Fleet Management for 5 2026 Dodge Durangos for the police, 2 2026 Dodge Durangos 2500 Ram for sanitation, 1 2026 Dodge 2500 for parks, and 1 2026 Dodge 1500 Ram for park for a down payment of $51,050 plus total annual payments of $96,671. Under Human Resources, we have consideration of approval of the 2026 holiday schedule for the city of Starkville, and if the governor of the state of Mississippi designates additional days as paid holidays, by proclamation, the mayor may designate such additional days as paid holidays for eligible employees. 2 is request authorization to hire Walker Lake as an engineering co-op in the engineering department. 3, request authorization to hire Lawson Sumner as a water technician for the utilities department. 4 is request authorization to hire Seth Reed as a certified police officer in the Starkville Police Department. Then we have, under IT, we have request approval of the yearly renewal of Google Workspace from SADA Systems for the sole source price of $21,660. Under Parks, we have consideration of approving the professional services contract with Artful Gardener LLC for new landscaping plans at J.L. King Park and Cornerstone Park for the not-to-exceed amount of $4,125. Under Police, we have request approval for the Starkville Police Department to enter an interlocal agreement known as the North Mississippi Human Trafficking Task Force Interlocal Cooperative Agreement. Under Utilities Department, we have consideration of accepting the sole source quote from Wesco Annixter, Inc. for 1,000 V4 water modules in the amount of $153,800. 2 is consideration of accepting the sole source quote from Schwing Bioset for mixing chamber repairs at the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $5,941.69. And that concludes our consent agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor.
Certainly. We have announcements and comments, and so before I do our employee introductions, I do want to note that we have Sanitation Day. Well, it is, every day is Sanitation Day, but Veterans Day, our sanitation schedule will be, we will be closed on that Tuesday, but we will do a full citywide, or a Tuesday schedule pickup on Wednesday. Is that right? All right, I've got a head nod from the gentleman who is in charge. So, thank you. So we will have the Tuesday normal pickup will be that following Wednesday, following Veterans Day. There we go. I think I got that straight. I also wanted to note that we have a holiday bazaar that begins tomorrow. It's Wednesday and Thursday at the Mill, and it's a big bazaar with all the various and sundry opportunities for Christmas shopping. So I would suggest everyone go enjoy. Then we also have, I have to say, we have basketball, football, and baseball this weekend. It is a stellar weekend. So there are lots of things to do in Starkville this weekend. So I hope everyone enjoys. So, Ms. Morrow, anything from you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Alderman Sistrunk?
Nothing, thank you.
Alderman Skinner?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Brooks?
Well, you mentioned sports. We have to congratulate the Bulldogs on that.
Well, we do,
that's true.
we do.
And just a bit personal here, I was flying back from South Bend, Indiana Sunday night and checked on with Chicago Center, and the guy said, Hail State.
Did he?
I said,
Yes.
really? And he kind of caught me by surprise. He said, yeah, him and another controller up there were state grads, and they were watching, and they were
Well,
very
that's
excited
cool.
for us. So,
I'm
yeah.
also glad they were at work,
Yeah, that's true. And I did
because they're not being
thank
paid
him.
right now.
I did thank him for that. Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely, yeah. Wonderful. Alderman Pope?
I do. I have the pleasure of having added a new resident to the city of Starkville since
Not a
our
voting
last
age yet.
since our last meeting. No, she cannot vote yet, but we did have our daughter 12 days ago now. If you catch me up here yawning, I'm not bored. I'm lacking in sleep, but she's healthy, and I'm happy that she's here.
And her name is?
Neely.
There you go.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. All right. Vice Mayor?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Alderman Vaughn?
Yes, ma'am, Mayor, I got a little something. Mayor, I'm concerned, I'm not against the library, nothing against the library.
Yes, sir.
And I was just listening, as we said, we're gonna try to find something to accommodate them to fix that. But what bothered me it's Sand Hill and Henderson Road. We ponder, they still, since 1998, they still has not been fully annexed in there because they still don't have sewage. But we keep putting it off, saying that we can find money to do everything else. And that's been 27 years they've been annexing, and the resolution states that you have 5 years to fully annex someone, and then once we've been annexed. So I inherited this. It was a problem before I inherited this over the last 2 years. But this 27 years been gone by. I know we applied for a grant a couple times, but still seems like we can find something to accommodate these people. But I guess out of sight, out of mind, and it got me feeling that way. We're doing a lot of good things, a lot of wonderful things, and I applaud for that. But 27 years, we hadn't even gave these people sewage yet. That's a long time, But we can find money to do many things we want to. And these are human beings, these are taxpayers, and that's unsanitary for them to have to deal with this all these years.
All right, thank you. I will have to check and see what the status of the CDBG loan is and see if we've got, see if we're getting any traction on that, but,
If we
Vice Mayor?
Mayor, let me just add very briefly, I was here when that area came into the city, and it was never envisioned that they would have to wait that long, and I applaud the gentleman from 7 for bringing it up, because I'm inheriting some in my ward now, on Barbecue Road and other places, but Mayor, hopefully, I know there's something in the process, a very friendly housekeeping matter. Miss Phyllis, Golden Triangle Planning Development, is that being pursued at this time?
Yes,
If
it
we
is.
can,
And that's what I need to check on the status of.
Right, and the gentleman from 7, his matter should be a top priority, so I support that, and hopefully we can get these moving, Mayor, because there are steady requests coming before us. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Was that all, Alderman Vaughn?
That's all.
Okay, so I neglected to do the employee introductions, but we will save them, we'll say we're saving them till last. So we have Sanitation Department employee introductions. We have Noah Wolf, and we have Stephen Nantel, and did we have Mr. Banks arrive? No, he did not. Okay, well, we will start with Mr. Wolf. Noah Wolf joins our team as a lead landscape worker. He brings over 5 years of leadership and landscaping experience and is eager to get to know the city while contributing to the beauty of our community. In this role, Noah will oversee and participate in maintaining and improving public landscape across the city. He will plan and coordinate projects, guide and train team members, and ensure that every site is completed safely, efficiently, and to the highest standard. Noah and his team will play a vital role in keeping our public spaces beautiful and well cared for. Originally from Brandon, Noah graduated from East Rankin Academy High. He's married to Hassie Birch, and they have 3 dogs and 2 cats. And in his free time, he enjoys gardening, cultivating bonsai trees, and grafting Japanese maples. So I would say landscaping is right up your alley.
That's fine, it is.
Welcome to the city. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
And then we have Stephen Nantel, is that right? Am I saying that correctly? Okay. Mr. Nantel joins our team as a foreman with the Sanitation Department. With prior experience at Waste Pro, he brings a wealth of industry knowledge and a strong commitment to excellence. In this role, Stephen will oversee the safe and timely collection of trash and recycling across the city, ensuring public spaces remain clean and well-maintained. His extensive driving experience and professionalism will support smooth and efficient operation of the department's waste management services. Originally from Troy, Missouri, Stephen graduated from Troy Buchanan High School. He has been married to Casey Nantel for 5 years, and they have 2 children, Alex and Avery. And in his spare time, Stephen enjoys hunting, fishing, and spending time with his family. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So we will next move to citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for anyone who wishes to speak to the board. Complaints, concerns, compliments. 3 minutes is the allotted time under citizens' comments. And Ms. McLaurin will be timing all of our public hearing and comments this evening. So, Mr. Turner, always lovely to see you.
Good evening to the mayor and board. My name is Alvin Turner, Ward 7. To the mayor, to the police chief, to the fire chief, to sanitation. With it getting dark at 5 o'clock now, it's very dangerous with it being dark, and you can't hardly see Louisville Street when it's dark because, we know we have a lot of, vegetation and, wouldn't want nobody to get hit. Coming from the Kirby Apartments is also dark. And we'll be getting dark at 5 and make it hard for pedestrians like myself and others. And we definitely wouldn't want no one to get hit because once they get through the stop sign, they know it's on until they get to the red light. And once the red light time loses, it's on until they get to the stop sign. But we just are concerned about that, and we wouldn't want no one to get hit by us neglecting a pedestrian sign. That'll help out a whole lot. That'll kind of slow them down on Louis Street. And we just so he can give us the holiday schedule so that we can be careful and safe.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right.
Just to be clear, Your Honor, there will be a time to speak during the public hearing too also, is that correct?
Yes. Under citizens' comments, anything else? All right, seeing none, we'll close that. We have public hearing now, which is currently the third public hearing and potential consideration of the adoption of a non-consensual predatory towing ordinance. We have had three. This will be our third. We've had two prior to this. We have taken input from emails. We've taken input from things that were submitted during board meetings. We have made a number of adjustments to the trespass towing ordinance. And I received, unfortunately today, I received one that I think has further merit from a gentleman who is working on a state towing legislation. And so with that in mind, I sent it to Mr. Huskisson to see if there's something substantive in his recommendations that would warrant yet another bite at this particular apple, because at some point we're going to need to land where we need to land. But Mr. Huskisson seems to think that there may be some additional elements to this that we're going to want to modify. But having said that, we will still allow, we've got a public hearing that's been authorized. We will still ask for input from the public on this for the third public hearing. Any comments from the board before I open it as a public hearing? Alderman Sistrom.
Just to be clear for those that might not be so familiar with the process, what this means is that we will have the public hearing, but we will not have consideration or a vote tonight.
Right, that'd be the upshot of it, unless the board wishes to proceed, in which case I certainly won't stand in the way of that, but I think probably it would be in our better interest to take some of what's been advised for us, and Mr. Huskisson has reviewed. So, anyone else before I open it as a public hearing? Okay, seeing none. All right, I'll open it as a public hearing. We'll have 15 minutes for, 15 minutes against, and Ms. McLaurin is kind enough to take time. So, anyone wishing to speak to the ordinance, now would be the time. Mr. Hosford? You were clearly interested in doing so please. Y'all like joined at the hip there?
Well, yes, ma'am. He did get me to come with him, so I guess we're gonna be here together. How y'all doing this evening? It's a pleasure to be here. I know everybody's working on this ordinance. I know there's one thing I would want to say. There is no necessity to pass this ordinance, first of all. The city doesn't have to get involved in private businesses and private properties decisions. There's no requirement on the state law in this area. And I'm, again, encouraging the city to consider the implications of what they're getting involved in here. One of the things that you're doing is you're telling a property owner how they can manage their own property and the people that park there. And that's something that we have to consider as citizens, is how far does the government get involved in these property owners' lives? Because that's realistically what you're doing. Well, the people that are being towed are complaining to you. We contend, as a towing company that's involved in this, that the people that my client tows are not being towed in any form or fashion that is outside the rules of that complex and that property owner's rules. So it'd be no different than the city coming in and saying, well, we don't like your bathroom now, so you have to change it. We don't like this about your property now, so you have to change it. And that's really what we're talking about. That's the first step. So consider that when you're voting on this ordinance and you're making changes to this ordinance that you believe may be necessary to be passed in the city, that affects the property owners and the citizens, both of which have a stake here. For example, if the tenant comes home and he can't park, well, this ordinance may be the reason for that. And it doesn't sound like a big deal until you're having to carry a car full of groceries 3 blocks because you can't get in the parking spot in front of your apartment because somebody's parked there illegally. And that's the realistic side effect of what you're talking about today. In addition, my client insures at least 7 people in this city. All of those have jobs. All of those pay taxes. He pays taxes every day when he goes and buys fuel for these cars and these trucks. He pays taxes for the work that he does. He pays sales tax for the business that he has to collect for the state of Mississippi and the city. All of that is what you're affecting. At the end of the day, there's cost to that business. Those costs are insurance. Those costs are vehicles. Those costs are what he has to do for operations, fuel, people, other things, tires, maintenance. All that comes down to what the cost is. So one of the big things that you're pushing is a cap on the charge. Well, I know the vice mayor's a lawyer, and if somebody came to me and said, Mr. Hosford, you can only charge $150, I'd tell them you can go eat it, because I'm going to charge whatever I want. And if you want to pay it, then you hire me. If you don't, then you don't. And that's effectively what you're doing to these businesses. You're saying you can't charge what you want. If you have a gas station, if you have real estate, if you have anything, the city would be saying, you can't charge this because we don't believe it's right anymore. That's not how America works. We're a capitalistic society. And that is what we're talking about. You're willing to cap what somebody can make because the people that are breaking the rules are coming to you and complaining about they broke the rules, so they had their car towed. That's the problem. At the end of the day, that cost, he has to take into consideration all of his employees, all the expenses, all the insurance, all those other things, and still make a profit to be able to provide a service to the people that he's serving, which is the owners of the property and the tenants that are parking legally. So say you pass this ordinance, and 6 months down the road, you have tenants calling saying, I can't get to my parking spot. Is the city going to go move those cars for the people? Because that's effectively what you could do if you run these people out of business. Nobody's going to be willing to do the job because it doesn't pay enough money to do it. And if you don't believe me, go to any restaurant in America right now, and half of them are understaffed because they can't afford to pay people to work there anymore, and the people don't want to work for what they're paying. And that's what you're doing. So when you think about this, think about, well, we need to hire minimum wage. Well, you have a guy that's paying higher than minimum wage to his employees. And you're going to take that opportunity of food away from his employees because people that were breaking the rules are complaining. And that's one of the reasons that we talk about that cost. $300 is what the going or the available rate for the local area is in towing. You have in this bill currently, or at least what was drafted before, I don't know if it's been amended since then, $250. Well, that's 20% almost of the charge that you're reducing somebody's ability to make a living. Just think about the increases in cost that you've had in the last 5 years in this country. Go to the grocery store with $100 and tell me how full your grocery cart gets. It doesn't. But you're telling him he's got to lower his rates because somebody complained. And that's not right.
10-minute mark.
Thank you. So when you consider all of these things, and when you get to this point of writing the things, we'd be glad to work with you. We'd be glad to talk to you about it. We'd be glad to talk to any one of you. You're welcome to contact my office. I will come meet with you personally to discuss anything you want to discuss. And I don't have to do it with my client, but he's welcome to come if you want him there. And we'd be glad to help you in any way in making this decision, which we believe is an important decision that affects not only the tenants, the property owners, but also people that are employed and working in your city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak against the ordinance? All right, seeing none, we'll move to those who wish to speak in favor of the ordinance.
Mayor Spruill, members of the board, I am not a lawyer, so I don't have the eloquence that my predecessor just had. But I would like to address this
Your name,
issue.
please.
My name is Jeff Donald, and I'm in Mr. Skinner's ward. First, I want to commend the board for tackling this issue. It needed to be tackled, no doubt about it. And I commend the people who have drafted this issue. Having worked on numerous documents over my life, it is a skill, so I commend those who have drafted this. I think it goes a long way to protect the interests of the property owners, those apartments, restaurants, the towing services. I think it protects their interests, and it protects the individual's right who's being towed to a lesser degree, in my view. In that first section where you talk about no towing unless approved by the owner, property owner, I think that's great, because what it does, if you have the property owner say, this vehicle is improperly parked, and I'm sure of it, then it should be towed, no doubt, not following the rules. But what happens in a case like this? You have a tenant who's legally there, paid his rent, has a parking space identified for him. He has a vehicle there, which he owns. And the vehicle the next morning is gone. Why is it gone? Because someone towed it. But he's there legally. The vehicle's there legally. One problem was, and I have to admit, there were some issues there. Didn't have the parking decal. Why? When he went in there, it wasn't given to him. So that is an issue. But it was towed. The individual did not have the money to get his vehicle. He didn't have rich parents. He didn't have anybody. So we went around to raise money for this individual. We finally were able to get money from resources, had to pay $2,375.40 to keep that vehicle from being towed, or being sold, really. That's a lot of money. In another instance, man in his apartment, legally there, pays rent, but he doesn't have a vehicle. So he has a friend say, come over and help me, take me to work. And the other friend would go there every day, pick him up, and take him to West Point to work at Walmart. Well, he pulled in there, he wasn't ready, so he parked in the place where that person would have had a vehicle had he been there. He parks, walks in. When they walk out, a vehicle's behind him. We're leaving right now, just let us go. No, pay me $100. Well, the individuals, neither of them had $100 in their pocket. So what happened? The vehicle was towed. Even though in my mind, it was sort of legal. The person said, park here in my place. But he still has to pay. And if it wasn't for someone coming up and paying $376.64, his vehicle would have stayed there and he'd have paid more. But he needed his vehicle to conduct his own livelihood. Without the vehicle, you cannot own, you cannot work. Sometimes you can't get to work. If you're delivering pizzas, for example, at minimum wage, how can you do that if you don't have a vehicle? I do think, though, that there's some things that we could consider. I've offered a number to the mayor. For example, I think that the apartments probably could have a document published that says, in your document, it says that blocks normal business is stated. Well, why can't the apartments create a document that says, here's where you can park. Here are the parking, in other words, put it in writing. And when they come in to sign a lease, it's given to them. Or even someone sits down there and explains it to them. So then if they do wrong, they know. Another option, perhaps, you know how in the city court, well, first I'd say, contrary to what has been said, I think the amount of money should be capped. I'm not sure exactly what, but even at 7 days, capped at $45 a day, $315, towing charge $250, $565 for a week. I think that's fair, but they may not have the money. Why can't we do like the city courts? Someone has a big bill. What does the city court do? They say, we will work out a plan for you to pay it. Why can't then the towing company say, okay, we will let you take your car but you come back and have to pay us that money over a period of time. They're still getting their money, it's just not paid at one time. What's wrong with that? I know I've just a few moments, but we didn't address anything about the vehicle being sold at the end of the period, I believe. I'm not sure what state law says, but I think that might be added into your concept. But overall, I think this policy is a good policy because it does go in addressing issues of all the major stakeholders. And let's not forget that individual who has no job or minimum wage job, who doesn't have a lot of money, who's living in these apartments that, you know, kind of helps him live, his interests need to be protected also. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board.
Mr. John, appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the ordinance?
All right, good evening to everyone. My name is Alvin Turner. The people are looking at the people that own apartments and stuff. Put yourself in their shoes. They're looking at your own property and all. Is this going to affect you? We don't want to do something and it come back to bite us.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right. Third time's a charm, right?
Good evening, Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
Board.
How much time left, just so we'll,
8 minutes.
8 minutes, okay.
My name's Christine Williams, for the record, from Ward 1. And yes, I have spoken at the last 2 meetings as well. And I just wanted to reiterate the fact that I think this is a very good policy moving forward, a very good ordinance for the city moving forward. And that is because it addresses the predatory nature of what is going on within the city limits with regard to towing. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here when I say this, but I don't read anything that takes away from somebody being able to legally tow a vehicle that's illegally parked if they call at that point and say it's illegally parked. I have had an opportunity to see one of the contracts that's outlined in terms of Apex Towing and one of the complexes. And I would argue that a lot of the things that the city is putting into this potential ordinance will address some of the areas that I would think are egregious in terms of that contract. And I don't think that my own child was towed in accordance with that contract. And again, I'm not saying that she wasn't parked outside of the visitor space in the complex that she was in, but having seen the contract, she was not towed in compliance with the contract that was in place. And just a few things that struck me as odd in the argument against the ordinance. Again, nobody is saying, from what I understand in reading what y'all have drafted, nobody is saying that towing companies can't exist. We have, I believe, Alderman Moreland said we have 11 towing companies in the city. And, you know, much like you continue to hear from me, we continue to only hear from one of those 11. Again, more things that I've looked into, I've noticed that there is a discrepancy in the amount that is charged when a student is towed or when an individual is towed in one of the complexes within the city or within the county, between Apex Towing and other towing services. And I know that Mr. Hofsword argued that he would charge whatever he wants to charge as an attorney, and that, you know, towing companies should be able to do that as well. The difference in that is if I call somebody and I want them to tow a vehicle for me, I'm agreeing to that price. If I go see someone and I'm parked over a white line, or I'm parked one space over, and there's a contract that says people can roam around the parking lot searching for these things, then I'm not agreeing to paying certain amounts. I'm not even agreeing to being towed. what I'm agreeing to is being in that complex at that point in time. So, again, I appreciate the board looking at the predatory nature of what's going on in the city, and the people who, are ending up being victimized, by that predatory nature, because I don't think that, it is appropriate for anyone to drive around the city, looking for something to do in terms of charging someone, a financial price simply because, they don't like what they're doing, where they're doing it. And, so I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Williams. All right, anyone else? Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I will close it as a public hearing. Any discussion among the board members? Any discussion? All right, seeing none, we will move, and it will come up one more time for a fourth public hearing. And at that point in time, hopefully, we will be satisfactorily resolved with the things that are in it, and Mr. Huskisson will be satisfied, and we will have an ordinance that we can comfortably say yea or no to. All right. All right, moving along. We next have a public hearing and consideration of an SC 25-06. Mr. Hapler. I'll get a light.
Me out here. This is a request by Charles Pruitt for a special exception to allow for a duplex dwelling and for a variance to allow to exceed the maximum amount of parking area located within a front yard. The property is located on the north side of Ware Street, approximately 47 feet to the east of 204 Ware Street. The special exception request is to build the duplex. Each unit in a duplex that's being proposed has 2 bedrooms. So there'll be a total of 4 bedrooms on the site. 4 bedrooms will require 4 on-site parking spaces. The UDC requires a special exception for a duplex building in this zoning district, TNE, traditional neighborhood district. Section 3.41 of the UDC has the 8 criteria for a special exception review and approval. And under the first criteria, site suitability, the section states that fits contextually with the surroundings. The other residential structures in the neighborhood are single detached dwellings with very shallow front yards. This one has a very deep front yard. The proposed structure isn't a single family dwelling, much like the stuff that's surrounding it is a duplex is what's being proposed. And at the October 14th, 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting, the commission voted 3-1 to recommend approval of the request. The 3-1 vote is kind of strange. Two members are absent, including the chair, and then the vice chair chose not to vote. However, the planning department staff disagrees with this recommendation. Based on the criteria for approval in section 3.41 and the plan submitted by the applicant, we recommend that the request not be approved for the special exception. The second request is for the variance to vary from the maximum percentage allowed of parking area within the front yard. As you can see, the image on the right, the green area is what's considered the front yard. That's how that's measured. The image on the left is showing the calculation on this specific site plan. The maximum allowed percentage is 40%, and they're approximately 65% occupying the front yard. And all this is due to their chosen configuration of how to park this site and how to build the building. There's definitely other ways that this could be configured to allow for that. So the applicant is requesting relief from section 1410(2)(d)(7). With the variance request, there are 6 criteria for variance review and approval. Again, the area around consists of single family houses with driveways that are primarily 10 to 12 foot wide, and they're located on the side of the front yard. This one has taken up the entire front yard. The applicant has not demonstrated any special condition or hardship related to the request, and this requirement applies to all single and duplex dwellings within the city. This is something that we consistently enforce on every single building plan for single family housing throughout the city. So granting this request would also not be consistent with the comprehensive plan, as it says in criteria F. The comprehensive plan has the place type for this area as traditional neighborhood existing, and in that, it requires that the buildings be placed closer to the street and the parking to the side of the rear. So the proposed layout of the driveway does not meet the requirements or conform to the comprehensive plan. At the October 22nd, 2025 Board of Adjustment Appeals meeting, the board voted unanimously to recommend denial of the request. This request was noticed in accordance to the UDC for both special exceptions and variances. 15 owners of record received mailed. A legal ad was published on September 27th, 2025, and a sign posted on the property at a conspicuous location. As of this date, we received no response to that notification.
Okay, thank you.
And the applicant has called about 2 hours ago and said he was several hundred miles away and would not make this meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any questions of Mr. Haviland?
I got a question, Helen, before you go. On
Alderman
that
Vaughn.
special, yes, ma'am, on that special exception that they made, you said, what'd you say the votes was on that special exception?
The special exception is for the actual use of a duplex. The vote was 3-1. There's 7 members, 2 were absent, and then the chair chose not to vote, which is kind of standard with that group.
Mayor, Mr. Haviland and the board, can we separate these two and vote on?
We do need to,
separate?
Yes.
yes, Alderman, we do need to separate the two of them. He just presented them because they were the same piece of property, but yes, we will have a separate vote on the exception and the variance.
Okay.
Okay. Any other
Thank you.
discussion? Alderman Brooks. I'm sorry, were you done,
Yes,
Alderman
ma'am.
Vaughn? Okay, Alderman Brooks.
Well, that, I don't know what Alderman Bond said. If you can't park it, then, that's the biggest problem, is the parking, where they voted unanimously.
Yeah, the biggest problem, they're trying to do a one-story structure that, as you can see, takes up the entire width of the property.
Right.
And so by their design, they're causing the requirements or
Yeah,
causing the
you got
variance
to
to
have
need
4
for it.
parking places, and I'm looking at your sketch.
Mhm.
It'll take every bit of that to park that.
Correct,
So,
correct.
You know, if you're not able to park it based on that design, then essentially.
I mean, you can, based on that design, if approved, you could park it, but according to our code, the 40% rule, they wouldn't be able to do that with this design at all. Without exceeding either the area or the driveway width by paving the entire frontage of it.
All right, Alderman Sistrunk and then Alderman Moore.
So what I'm hearing, Mr. Haviland, is that the design is creating the problem, that the lot can be developed with a difference in the design, and at least one of these issues goes away, if not both of them.
Correct. You could definitely fit the use of a duplex on that site and park it. It's just not with the current design. There's no way to do that.
Has that been conveyed to the applicant?
Multiple times.
Okay, all right, thank you, I'm sorry. Was that all, Alderman Sistrunk? Alderman Moore?
And I'm assuming he just doesn't want to change the layout, because my question, I guess, is the water runoff with this lot.
Correct. I mean, the back of the lot drops off significantly going down towards 182. But being a single detached dwelling or duplex dwelling, that doesn't go to site plan review, so there is no official like stormwater review on it. But it is something to take into consideration when it's being built.
Well, and I agree with you, because it goes, I'm worried that it goes straight down the hill to the neighbors.
Yeah.
Because this is up on the hill, and you've got the road, and it'll go straight down the hill to the folks that live on Ware at the bottom of the hill there, so. All right, any other discussion?
I got one
Alderman Vaughn, yes, sir.
Yeah, the front yard, you say he can move that to the side, right? Instead of where you trying to
Correct,
put
so-
all the concrete at?
So for example, if you
That's
just,
where you want to
if you just reconfigured the building, say do a 2-story building, you could easily park it on the side at that point, and then move the building a little bit closer to the street. There's a couple ways to sort of, skin the cat on this one.
But that's why I say we separate, then we can go ahead and make a special exception, then he have to handle the rest of it.
Correct.
All right, anyone else? Anyone else?
One,
All right, Alderman Sistrunk.
so the planning department rarely contradicts the recommendations that come from the P and Z meetings. And so I'm giving that a lot of weight as we consider this tonight. Are you recommending that we deny both, or?
As the plan submitted, I would recommend denying both. The use, I'm not so worried about as far as duplex goes, but the current site plan, I'm very concerned about. There's also property directly to the east of it. There's 2 or 3 lots that are owned by the same family that they plan on kind of repeating whatever's done here. So it's not just a 65% of this front yard, it's 65% in the next 4 lots. But the use of a duplex, that doesn't give me a problem. That provides more housing in a tighter area, and that's kind of what we kind of push toward. But we don't push toward paving the entire kind of
Right.
public part of
Right.
the yard.
Is this gonna be on a, does he plan, I'm sorry, were you done?
I was just gonna ask if we did approve the use, will it still have to come back for review and site plan analysis and all that sort of thing?
You could approve the use, but because they can't park it, they would have to change the design.
Okay.
Yep.
And I was gonna ask, is this a conventional foundation or is it a slab?
I believe it's conventional, is what he said,
Conventional? Okay, all right.
but I'm
Anyone
not
else?
positive on that.
I'd like to make a motion, Mayor,
Alderman Vaughn?
that we approve the request for the special exception to allow the duplex to be built.
Okay, and I need a second.
Second, I'll second the use exception.
I have a second from Alderman Moreland.
Mayor.
All right, so that is for the special exception to allow for a detached duplex, is that
Yes,
correct? Okay, all right. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
Public hearing?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
See, we get all
Yeah,
engaged
yeah.
in these things and I forget. Thank you so much.
I'm here to save you.
I've got William over here keeping me straight, and now you, thank you very much. All right, I will open this as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter now would be either for or against. What's under discussion is a special exception and a variance, and either one at this point in time. We will combine the public hearing to affect either one of those. So, anyone wishing to speak to this matter? Seeing none, I'll close it as a public hearing. Thank you so much. And I do have a motion and a second, and we should have done that after the public hearing. So anyway, we're still good to go. So, any further discussion? Vice Mayor?
Mayor, it is very incumbent that we let the record clearly reflect that if this passes, that it's clearly for the dwelling, and he's gonna have to come back. In other words, no certificate of occupancy can be issued unless
Yes.
all of the conditions are
This
are
is
required.
solely for the,
I understand,
Yeah.
I understand, we just need to make the record real clear on this. So, it's clear, Mayor, I just want to be real clear, Attorney, that we approve this. He can proceed with whatever work he needs to get done on that particular variance. But at the same time, there cannot be any parking in the front yard.
Not the variance, the special
I mean,
exception.
special exception, excuse me,
Yes.
special exception.
Yes.
there can be
But-
parking in the front yard, just can't exceed 40% of the front yard.
I understand, but I'm talking as
Yes, sir.
proposed.
Yes.
But that needs to be, I mean, you're gonna communicate that with him, we gotta make sure that's.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right, Mayor,
All right.
it's kind of very
Thank you.
different.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. And
yes, ma'am.
he will confirm, he will have to come back with a different design in order to
If he
use
comes
this
back
special
with
exception.
with a duplex that meets all the requirements,
Right.
then he would never come back before the board. It would just be a building permit at that point.
All right, so I have a motion and a second, and this is strictly referencing the special exception of SE 25-06. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, well, next we'll take up the variance. Do we have a motion for the variance?
I
So
make a
moved.
motion to deny the variance.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Moreland to deny the variance.
Second.
I have a second, okay, I'm sorry, I have a second from Alderman Brooks. All right, so, any other discussion? And this is a denial of the variance, which is the amount of paving and,
Correct.
okay. All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you so much. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hamlin. Next, we have the resolution, for the TIF, and we have Ms. Suggs here, and we have, okay, thank you. Yes, I'm sorry, yes, my apologies. Tell me your name again.
Sunny,
Sunny
Desai,
that's the part I wasn't getting. I didn't want to just say Mr. Sonny. Mr. Desai. So, Ms. Suggs,
Yes.
do you have a presentation you'd like to make?
Well, actually, I was here to speak very briefly about the project. I know that I have talked to some of y'all in work sessions and some of you outside of work sessions. Mr. Desai here is a representative of the hotel developer, and we are here to ask for your assistance in the construction of a road. I believe in your agenda packet you should have a copy of the map. Some of y'all may be familiar with this project, so forgive me if I go over this again. The proposed road is going to be a road to open up property located off Highway 12 and Sisk Road, and it is needed to develop this property into a planned student housing development and a hotel, as well as other development. The county, as of Monday, has agreed to participate and has formally approved the tax increment financing plan, and the plan is before you all tonight for your consideration and to set a public hearing at the next available city meeting.
Which would be on the 18th.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, all right. So
And
any-
Mr. Desai is here to answer any questions about the
And
hotel.
Mr. Desai is a hotel developer in the state of Mississippi, and do I recall correctly, you're an MSU grad?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Also,
well, that was working in your favor there, so I wanted to
Another
give you
fun
props.
fact, me and Joanne went to high school together.
Oh, okay, all right, well, there you go, cool.
Reference there.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm very excited that you are wanting to come back and invest in Starkville. I think that's wonderful, and certainly a hotel is one of the things that we are in desperate need of, in that we're short 300 rooms, basically, and about to be short some more because they're gonna tear down a hotel. They're gonna replace it with one, but they're gonna tear it down first, so. Any questions or thoughts from the board? Any questions?
I just want to make a
Alderman
statement.
Moreland.
I just want to thank you for taking, because I know this has not been a easy process, but I want to thank you for believing in Starkville and taking the time to really try to get this piece of property developed.
Absolutely. I've always wanted to build one.
Well, and it is one of those pieces of property that really is,
Troublesome.
well, it is. It has no
Yes.
frontage, and it
Right.
was former lagoon of the city, so, you know, we had hoped it would develop years ago, and it did not. So this is, I think, a wonderful, wonderful use, because you can be highly visible coming into town. It'd be great. Any thoughts? Anyone else? All right, well, we have an opportunity. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion from Ms. Moreland. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Skinner. Thank you so much. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. And it is worth noting that the county did go first. They published, and then they also have passed it. And so we will be publishing it and hopefully have it at the next board meeting, which will
Yes,
be the
ma'am.
18th.
He will not be able to attend. I believe you have
Okay.
travel conflicts. I will be here in case there are questions from the public or the board.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you both for coming up for
Thank you.
this.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, we're planning that second hotel. We're not
Well,
committing
the
to it. so
Music to my ears. I think that's exciting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. All right, and so next, thank you. Next, we have, under board business, we have a presentation of a detailed report on all the work done regarding Highway 182 revitalization and road project and the current status of that project. And Mr. Williams and Mr. Burnett are gonna provide that. The Vice Mayor has specifically asked for this report, and so, Vice Mayor, do you have anything you'd like to, share before they present their report?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Let me just briefly say, Mayor, I appreciate the mayor and the board designating the necessary amount of time for this presentation to be made. Mr. Engineer, certainly looking forward to a detailed report. And Mr. Williams was asking me on Friday, what did I mean? I just told him I understand detail is everything, so we have a superior knowledge base. There have been a number of inquiries about the project in a very great way. People within our city, hardworking taxpayers, they have a right to be duly informed, and we want to give them a superior knowledge base as to everything that has transpired. We want the staff member to talk about the scope of the project, just give us a complete history of it, what happened with the first phase from the beginning to down to D.L. Connor, and tell us what's going to happen from D.L. Connor 182 on down to Jackson, and from there to Old West Point Road, to talk about, about the undertakings, the challenges, the involvement, the financial aspect of it, and want to talk about, are we still on schedule, about the completion date, the projected completion date, how the financing's looking. I know we had change order lately from Burns Construction. And I also want to talk about what challenges will be presented if the board moves past once the project moves past Dale County or 182 on down to 389. If the board decides to come back and take some action about any properties under 21-1911. I mean, what impact will that have on the infrastructure that may be in place then? So just looking for a great evening. So once this is done, Mr. Burnett, you and the team and the mayor and I and my colleagues, if someone calls upon us to ask us about the detailedness of this project as of the 4th day of November of 2025, we can tell them, but at the same time, we'll have this in the archives. It's going to be in the history book. A few more comments here is that, this project, to the press and to the members of the public, is, in my opinion and based on my recollection, the most absolute dollar amount that this city has ever spent for any project. And I've been on the board since July 6th of '93. That's in excess of 32 years. Almost 32.5 years. And even before I got on the board, I'm not aware of any project of this size and this dollar amount. And I'll, at the end of this project, I'm going to do, actually for the floor back, and I'm going to commend this board and all of those involved to make this project a reality, because it's been greatly discussed. And Mr. Williams, I want you to give me the whole scope of, even when this project is done, we need to have and that's a policy decision that's going to come from the mayor's office about, we want to have a very nice plaque, because this project is going to be here beyond our lifetime. This is going to redefine 182. It's going to reshape the landscape. And we have put 2 great employees in charge, because I'm mentioning to the mayor the other day, once this project is complete, I don't want to hear about any hole that needs to be dug up. No water line, no sewer line. So somebody's going to have to really, really answer. I don't think they'll be able to. So just take your time, get the project done. This right size pipe, the right size everything. I'm an attorney, like Mr. Hostler said. I'm not an engineer. So we just want to make sure everything is right. We want the right amount of asphalt on that roadway, because heavy trucks going to just be up and down the road. We don't want to be visiting overlay every 4 and 5 years. Too beautiful. We want nobody to touch it. So, but Mayor, with that being said, I'm going to ask for the floor again after he finishes. But I just want to give the landscape, and I'm going to commend the mayor and the board. Just give you the press is here and everybody involved. This is a very high-profile project. I mean, this has been talked about. I mean, this is, and the mayor, I was talking to her briefly today. Even when this project is done, there are plans, Mr. Havlin, is he still here? There are plans in progress right now of that pertain to properties near the former Dr. Douglas L. Conner office that's going to help further shape and revitalize it. We're going to potentially have the Department of Archives and History involved. A great planning involved by a very prominent person in our community. So a lot of great things are happening. So Mr. Williams and Mr. Burnett, we're looking for a very, very excellent a presentation that covers every aspect of the project with anything unsaid about it. So Mayor, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Mr. Williams, Mr. Burnett, y'all proceed.
Vice Mayor, thank you for asking for the presentation. We really should have given it before a $500,000 change order came ahead of you, so that way y'all would know what the budget looks like. So I feel like it's a couple weeks too late, and that's on me. I should have given this presentation before that, so y'all would know what you're voting on. So, all right, so we'll start off with money first on that one. So when you look at this, the funding total is about $42 million on that. That doesn't include the off-quarter that's already complete. It was about $2 million, so it was actually $44.5 million on some change in there as far as the funding portion of it. You can see that's broken down into our local match. That's the original match that was with the build grant funds, the local ARPA funds of about $5 million, and then we went out, the MCWI funds, about $5 million as well to that ARPA match, and then the RAISE grant that we're able to obtain to finish out the project. So that gives you where your funding's coming from. Your expenses, we have it broken down. The Burns original contract was the 36 million. So we've had 2 change orders that had money to those. One were the light pole changes. This changed the Acorn lights to match the other pieces of the city, so that way utilities doesn't have to carry more than one type of light structure on it. That was the first one for 112. The second was communications conduit. That's tied to the Max South change order there, and then our construction engineering and inspection. You see all that goes through. We're 41,200,000 and some change there. So it leaves you contingency about $1.4 million right now. So we're inside of the budget, and we've got 1.4 million for unknown contingencies. Comes up. So contingencies, what could happen? So this is, you see here is a picture of the soils. You can see the rutting that comes along here and here. So these are materials that we couldn't reuse in the site, just like the Vice Mayor was talking about. We got one chance to do this right. We can't have issues like this up under the roadway. So what happens whenever we hit soils like this is that we have to dig it out, and then you have to come back in with new suitable soils there. So this is something that as you go along that you don't know. You do borings, but you're doing a 4-inch hole every several hundred feet. So you just don't know about those type things until you actually dig up the whole site and see what you find. The other one is tie-ins. As you're going along, you know, we've got the best plans that we have on utilities, but sometimes the lines aren't where they're located, or where you know, or you dig up stuff that you don't know about, new lines, old lines. And so just with all of that, you don't know about how long those take and trying to go back to it. So, all right, so current status. So where are we at? So as of this month, so I was able to pull together October. So this would be October 31st. It's about $16,300,000. I don't have the pay app yet, but that's what the rough numbers are. You have to go through a bunch of other stuff to do it. So it'd be about a week before we'll get those hard numbers. So complete. So that's 44% complete money-wise. As far as are we on schedule? So right now, this is a working day contract. So how a working day contract works is if it rains, they're not charged a day. So we've got 450 days, I think is what it works out to be. So right now, we've charged 207.5 days. It even gets down to that half day, because if it rains in the afternoon and they have to knock off, it doesn't get charged against them. So with that, so we're 46% complete time-wise. So you see, we're right about where we should be. Those also, with that, I'm not worried about the 2% because like we paved, this doesn't include the paving that happened this week. So whenever you do a paving, then that's a lot of money that you spend at one time. Also the electrical, whenever we get a few more parts in, there's a lot of things that'll be able to jump quick and be able to spend a bunch of money. So what'll happen is you're kind of going along, and then all of a sudden a bunch of electrical will get put in a month. Or you'll go along and it's so different things. So for an example, this month will be about a $3 million pay app. A lot of other months will be $500,000 to $1.5 million. So actually October was a very large pay app month. So give you an idea of how expensive things are. So these are your drainage boxes. So you're talking about the right size pipe, Vice Mayor. You see there, that box is a 60-inch pipe. So this is the boxes that are going down your main line through there. So that box, this box trailer right there, those boxes are over $40,000 for that one trailer load. And you think about how many trailer loads of these boxes it takes to go a whole mile along our project. So, all right, current reimbursement percentages. So what we're doing right now is we have MCWI money to spend. Our local ARPA is ours, so it's in the bank account. And then the build and raise money, those are with MDOT and federal highways, and those are reimbursement as well. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to spend everybody's money and pull those down. So we're doing 25% the local ARPA match. So then we're able to get 25% for the MCWI, and then 50% build raise money is what we're currently pulling down right now. So whenever we got the raise money, the build had to be spent by 2026. The raise, what happened is the build money got rolled into the raise grant agreement. So those, we actually have a longer time to spend. Our next spot that we have to spend is MCWI money. So where are we at on that? So our timeline on it, so currently we've got 1.6 million that's been requested. That's of September. So whenever we put in for October's reimbursement in November, that'll actually be that 3 million, it'll be another 700,000. So end of the year, this 33% will be about half of our money reimbursed from MCWI. This money has to be requested by the end of 2026. So December of 2026 is when we have to have that spent out. So pretty much we'll have a year to be able to pull the rest of that. So we're well in range to be able to get that pulled in, and we're constantly talking to DEQ and working with the finance side of ours to make sure that we get those reimbursements there. So our pictures. This is our retaining wall that's gotten built on here, and then here's the duct bank that comes along. So these are your electrical conduits. These are for distribution on there. The communication conduits that we were talking about, they would be laid across the top of here, and I've got a picture there. And then that's the sidewalk work that is going along there. So where are we? So those were time and money. So usually as an engineer, that doesn't give you an exact spot, but it gives you an idea of like, okay, if I've got spent 50% of my money and I've got 50% of my time gone away, we're about where we should be. But with this project, it's real heavy because like we saw that retaining wall was along this first phase. We had both sides of that. And then also the drainage is very large. So the 60-inch starts pretty much right here in the very bottom spot, right past Henderson, and it goes up through Jackson over off the page. So there's more money in several of the infrastructure things of where we started compared to off the hill at Montgomery, and those, the pipes will get smaller, and so per linear footage, it'll be lower. So where are we at in real world? So right now, the station that we're laying at is right in front of the Family Dollar driveway. So you're 2,450 feet from the point of beginning. So how far do we have to go? So we got 3,100 feet go to Old West Point Road. So you're a little bit less than you're halfway, but that's why a lot of heavy infrastructure is going into this portion of it. So, all right, so this is a flyover. So we're going to go through and kind of look at the project, what's complete, and it'll roll between our spots. So this is Long Street. Everything that we've got left here is electrical. So the northern electric portion we've got to take down, as well as the southern portion. There's a little bit more sidewalk work, and there's also communication conduits. Whenever Max South does their work, they'll have to come through here and pull lines as well. So this is front of Henderson Ward. So they actually poured this yesterday, or laid this asphalt. They're actually working, you can see theirs on the sidewalk. This will be poured by the end of the week, and then the landscaping will start there and start filling in this phase of the project on it. So the hardscape, this will get landscaped behind it with dogwood trees. All right, we'll roll in. So this is our D. O'Connor intersection. This was actually yesterday's. I've got another aerial that you'll be able to see the asphalt followed in. It's actually paved through here, and this sidewalk's actually been poured today as well. So what we have left is a little bit of sidewalk here, and then we'll be through the D. O'Connor intersection on it. So this is kind of the active site right now that you've got. So this is your manholes and your sewer lines here. The drainage is laid up to right behind it. The sewer is deeper than your drainage, so kind of what it's doing is you're having to lay your sewer first and then your drainage second. Talking about unknowns and having to do new dirt, you see that every bit of this red dirt is coming from Lowndes County. This is not our local dirt here. One of the reasons we're having to use this is you'll see this white pile, that's the Selma chalk. So whenever you see an outcropping around town and you see that white color, that's that formation. Is extremely hard. They have to use rock teeth to dig through it, and so digging 15 feet deep, it is extremely slow. All right, so go down every different one of our utilities. So electrical. So the transmission line is a 69 kV line. This is the line on the north side of the road. So the transmission line, this is a high voltage. This is what's going from substation to substation. So you're not hooking your house up to this. This is the big lines that are way up high on it. So this machine a couple months ago came in to drill these holes. These are your foundations for those transmission poles. These range anywhere from 16 to 22 feet deep on there. And so whenever you've noticed, if you look over to the side, this is all that's at the end of it, but know that it's a 16-foot hole in concrete that's going to hold those poles up. So transmission poles. So try and give you an illustration of what it's going to look like, or kind of what's going to be. So this is North Montgomery. Rick sits here. Here's Caldwell Street. So these green circles are your new foundations. So what I was talking about is that's what the foundation looks like. That's at each one of those. These red X's, that's where your existing transmission poles are sitting. So what happens is whenever we get done, there'll be a pole almost about every 500 feet. Right now, those poles are every 150 feet. So you have 3 poles that'll be proposed, and that'll replace 6 poles. So that helps with that view shed and what you got looking along those lines. And then also what will happen is the first line, as you see, these are these poles right here. So the first line will be 30 feet up in the air. And then this actual low line, that's what's going into that change order conduit that y'all approved for Max South. So that line won't be there. The lines above will be 30 feet in the air to the first one. So you're going to have a half of the number of poles, and then it's going to be way up out of your eyesight as well. So this picture here, this is standing at the daycare. These are where that foundation is. So it's sitting right out here. The next one, to give you an eye, so that's what this picture is pretty much if I was standing right here, looking back towards the west. The next light pole, this green circle right there, that would be in Love City, in front of Love City. And so you can see, you can't even see how far the next one is pretty much in this picture, but it's sitting right about there on it. The poles are on site. So these are the poles that are going to be there. I think they're 75 feet tall. They're going up, so they're already here. What we're waiting on there is the insulators. I think this after the first of the year that the insulators will be in. Once the insulators are in, we'll have all the equipment on site and we'll be able to go. This is one of those things that you can't piecemeal. You've got to do it by circuit because they've got to swap the power with utilities and everything else. So it's once you start, you got to do it all at one time and get it up and going. All right, distribution. So the poles on the south side, so here's the poles on the south side. These are the ones that have the level of power that you tie your houses to. So these are what, if you had your house, your business, anything else, this is what that's coming off of. So that's what's inside the duct bank since it's a lower voltage. So this is the duct bank that's coming through that will replace these lines, and then the conduits for the communication sit on top of this where it's going. This is a picture of what the boxes are, where these junctions come up, and so this is a machine that pulls these lines. So that gives you an idea how large those cables are to take the power. All right, so what are we waiting there? So fiberglass elbows. These are extremely hard to get a hold of. We've tried everything to figure out how to speed it up. Why do you need fiberglass elbows? We're running plastic all the time. Why can't we do plastic elbows? Whenever you pull, you saw that machine, when you're pulling that tension, what will actually happen is the friction will melt a plastic elbow. So you've got to have a fiberglass elbow to take care of that friction. So if you ever had anything go wrong with it, you'd be able to pull that old line out and put a new one in. So these are extremely hard to get a hold of right now, and this is what's holding us up. They're supposed to be here December 15th. So once we have that, we'll be able to start swapping over this power on the south. And then it'll take about a month, they said, or probably 2 months really, I think, on these to get everything done. Once we have that, so about first of the year, you ought to see poles start getting to be pulled from the south side of it. So this is a picture of the duct bank overall aerial. This is Lafayette Street, 182 sitting right here. And you can see all the conduits that are coming in. This is one of the spots that you have to have as a circuit. And so Lafayette's one of those circuits right there. All right, communications. We talked about it 2 or 3 different times. So your change order, if you can, should have zoomed this in a little bit, but those are actually 3 conduits there. Originally we had planned for 2, but then the Max South said you couldn't physically put everything they needed in one, so we had to do another conduit. One of these is dedicated for the city, so we'll be able to put fiber in here. We'll be able to tie all of our traffic signals into it and be able to bring it back to City Hall, be able to watch all the cameras. We'll also be able to bring that back to the police department so they'd be able to watch those cameras as well. The conduit's in the project, the boxes are in the project, 2 the things, the fiber is not. So maybe if our contingency money holds out for us and we get towards the end of the project and we're still good, that's what would be great to do, is be able to put fiber in here and be able to tie those in. This is part of the engineering plans. These are your electrical. You saw on the other side of the street that picture of all of them. This is what those will look whenever they get stacked out and poured concrete around the electrical. These are your communication conduits up top. This is warning tape, so you'll see that running through. So that way, if everybody goes and digs, they'll hit that tape first before they hit your conduits, and they'll go, oh wait, something's here, I can't be digging on it. All right, our pavement. So talking about our pavement cross section. So here's our plans right here, and here's a zoom in of it. So what we've got is 7 inches of asphalt with 12 inches of stone, and then we've got geogrid or geofabric up under that as well. So what does that mean? Saying not an engineer, so that's over to layman's terms. So what you do with pavement is you figure out a structural number. So this design has a structural number of 4.76. Local streets, to give you an idea, whenever you go to do a subdivision, they're less than a 3. You know, so you're not near as much traffic on a local street, so you wouldn't design it near this heavy, but we're going to put a lot of traffic to it, a lot of traffic. So this picture right here is them coring our asphalt. So what that does is this is the core that comes out of that machine. This shows you the thickness. So that you see here we're at 5.5 inches. The 7 inches, the extra 1.5 inches is the final lift. You notice their bump as you're going on to the project or off of it. That bump is that final surface lift. So you hold it as long as possible and do it last, so that way you have a pretty pavement at the end that you don't get marked up during construction. So that's why that's a little bit thinner there. You send this off to a lab, they test it and make sure that you're getting what you specified and that you're getting a good solid pavement on it. So, all right, our pavement. So you already saw that. This is actually from today. So you can see even from yesterday, you know, they were about right here with the dirt to be up under the sidewalk. They've already came all the way around here. So you can see where they're coming along with the hardscape that they've got there. And they also they're getting ready the irrigation and everything in place to be able to start landscaping our island there. So this is a School Street intersection. You saw from the fly-through, you only had one lane paved yesterday. Now we got both lanes paved. You can see how we've gotten that done. So, and these got flew about 3 o'clock today. So these are pretty fresh. So here's your D.L. Connor intersection. So we've got paved up through here on it. What's been paved so far is what's called your base course. You have 3 different layers of asphalt. The base course is your bottom, then the binder is next, and then your surface course is your final one. They'll be coming back Thursday once all the tests get approved for everything they've paved and all our cores look good. Thursday morning we should have those tests back. They'll do the second level of asphalt Thursday, and so it'll get brought up another couple inches as well over what they've got right there. And you can see, you know, our first aerial from the other day, that wasn't poured. You can see there that they already poured that today. And that's why it's a different color with the sidewalk. All right, water. Where are we at on water? So water's been laid through D.L. Connor intersection. So right now we're just to the east of D.L. Connor, out from under that pavement that's been done. So all our valves and everything are cleared to here. To give you an idea of how expensive water is, this is them working on the valve cluster. So what we've done now is we have valves so you'd be able to isolate the different legs of projects. If everything breaks or anything else, now we've got new valves on the system to be able to isolate the different legs. This one valve, this is a 12-inch valve. So you have new water from one end of the project to the other, all new 12-inch. This one valve is almost $8,000 installed. So I think we got 4 just right at that leg to be able to do the different ones. So you see how much this infrastructure, you're talking about being the most expensive project. That's why, as you saw, $40,000 for the boxes, $8,000 for one valve. It adds up extremely fast. To your point about it being a generational project, whenever engineers design these, they have at least a design life of 50 years. And I know we've got a lot of water pipes in the ground that are older than that. So this is designed to at least be 50 years, and I'm sure it'll be in service longer than that. So, sewer. So this is the Jackson intersection. I tried to highlight the green with how much is going on, but y'all can see this intersection. So the light gray, this is the 60-inch there. And so whenever you look down at your cross section, so this is your planned profile. So this is just like those aerials. This is like if you're looking down. The profile is if you went and cut a cross section through it. So if you could sit there and sliced it like a cake, that's what this shows. So this is where, right here, you see where the drainage goes over the sewer. That's your 60-inch drainage going over the sewer. So that's why I talked about the sewer getting laid first through. That's why they're going through with laying the sewers, because the drainage has to come across the top of that. So right there is 15 feet deep is what we're running through. Also talking about cost, This one manhole that's, as you're coming up to Jackson, that one manhole is 24,000 and some change just for that one manhole because of how deep it is. Because whenever the contractor knew that they were gonna be in that Selma chalk and how difficult it would be down to get to it. Also, so here's a picture of sewer pipe. These joints, this 12-inch sewer, this is, so these sticks are 20 foot long, is what those are. So a 12-inch sewer main runs, this contract's $317 a foot, and if you installed it at 15 foot deep. You pay sewer based on depth classes, so if it's shallower, you pay less, deeper, you pay more because of how long it takes to dig down and come back up with it. So this picture, just that little bundle right there is over $63,000 is what that'll be to be installed on it. So sewer, so this is where they're at right here, Family Dollar Drive. This is the box, so these are 15 feet deep. This is a box for your manhole right there, and then this is a trench box and you're laying down the sewer through there. So what they're doing, they're sitting there and then they've laid out and they drag that trench box through and they dig the hole, and this keeps everything from caving in. And so that's what safety is the number one thing. You can think about trying to have a hole. We also are making them keep traffic going through there. So you think about they're trying to dig 15 feet deep, and here we have to keep a lane of traffic as well to try to minimize what we've got on the traveling public. And that's another shot of that Selma chalk that we talked about. This is a picture of the water truck. I know we've had sometimes that we've gotten dusty on there, and we've had to call them and say, hey, we're dusty, put the water truck on it. They've got a water truck dedicated to it, but if you do get complaints or something, let us know. We'll relay it to the contractor and try to get sure the dust issues gets handled in a timely manner. And that was that bundle. So you can see what 20 feet is, and so it does not go far that you can see. Traffic signals. All right, so right now what we've got done is all the school street and all the Long Street guts to our cabinet are brand new. So go through this. This is applied information's box here. This is a preemption box. So preemption is what, whenever the fire truck takes off, this is what makes the lights green. The old technology is line of sight. So the old technology had a light on top of the fire truck that strobed, and then you had a thing that picked it up, and then that way it would turn the light green. This technology uses cellular and GPS that once we get them across the city, that then this will be whenever the chief cranks up a fire truck at the station and puts in where he's going, these lights will know that he's going, and so it'll have them green before he gets there. The company says that they can, they've seen a reduction up to 20% of their response times. So this is something that we're trying to work towards. What we're doing is incrementally as we go to fix a light, we're putting this in. So the new Spring Street light that we'll have it. The Main Street lights, we're putting it on there. So just kind of like the police cameras, we're trying to add these as we go on it. So we also need to put this in the budget for the trucks. The unit that goes in a truck's about $6,000. The company that does this has given us one. So I think we have 5 trucks that we have to go that, as we get these on there. I'm a big proponent of this. I was buying groceries at Kroger this weekend and saw a truck come through and a light turned red on him, and and it slowed him down because of it. So I think this is a technology that we really need to lean into and try to help the fire department on their response times and safety. Next thing, this is an Iteris box. This is where all your cameras. So what we're going to is from radar. These are from cameras. So these intersections have 4 cameras faced in each way. This is the box that information comes into. We're working on trying to get a traffic management system, so we'll be able to pull that footage in and be able to come and look at complaints immediately as we get it. The applied information also makes it where we can log into this. This is your controller. So this is what controls everything about the intersection. This box will make it where we can remotely log in and be able to change timings, be able to look at timings, see what's gone wrong with something without having to leave the office, and so it'll be able to speed up the time that we'll be able to look at it there. All right, so like I said, these 2 are in. D. O'Connor will be next, and we'll work through the whole thing as we go through. Hardscape. As you see, the seat wall in front of the school is in. It's one of the biggest chunks of there. It's been held up for a while because of gas line. So there was a gas line that was going through the foundation of the stairs that we had to locate and we had to move. So it's really slowed us down here. I was really wanting this to be put together a lot quicker than it was, but we've been trying to work through those utility conflicts. All right, so those are there. Well, let's go back and talk about some of the other ones on there. So talking about the D.L. Connor intersection, what we have to get to on there's under that building there that we have, the main issue is a sewer line that runs under it. So we have to lay through the Jackson intersection to be able to get that sewer offloaded there. Once we get through there and pull it off of the Lafayette intersection, then we'll be able to address the D.L. Connor intersection on it, as well as drainage. So last thing's driveway and asset management. I know we get a ton of questions on this, so I want to go through what we're trying to do or what the design intent for the project was and kind of go through this. So, you know, this was a highway. This was a main 82. That's every bit of it had to come through, but we have the bypass now. So the way I see this project was the infrastructure is holding us back. It was in shambles, so we need the infrastructure. And then the other portion of it was a highway car-based. And so this is really trying to reclaim a highway and turn it into a city street. That's what we're trying to do. One of the big parts of that is access management. And so why is it important? It boils down to safety. So conflict points and speeds are the kind of two things I think are big. So this shows you this is what you would have. So twin turn lanes and then 4 lanes either way. You see every red dot's a spot that somebody could get hit or hit somebody. So that's the bike lane that comes through. This is your sidewalks. So these are your driveways. So whenever you have a lot of driveways, you're multiplying all those points that somebody could get hit on. So one of the big things of access management is trying to reduce these down to where you have less points to do on it. So as you see over here, this is a median installed, and then we come through, and so they've combined these driveways to one, reduced it down. And so now you had all of that chance of being hit is reduced down to this. It doesn't make it perfect, but it makes it to where it's much more manageable on there. And then as somebody that's walking through here, if you think about you're walking on this sidewalk and you're having to watch yourself here and you're having to watch yourself here, now you're having to watch yourself in 2 spots versus all of these spots on it. So the speed portion of it, this gives you an idea of, so this is your chances of dying if you got hit by a car. So 20 miles an hour, you got an 8% chance of dying. Just 10 miles an hour. 10 miles an hour more than doubles your chance of dying in an accident. With wide open driveways, so a lot of these, even if they stayed, what happened is they got brought in narrow. If you had a wide open driveway, you whip in quicker. And so that extra speed that you're going through, if you did hit a pedestrian, it was much more dangerous on there. So trying to narrow up those driveways to where you slow down, it'll make it where it's much safer for pedestrians. And so with this, it makes it to where it's for everybody, not just cars. It's taking care of pedestrians, bicyclists, and cars as well. So this one, what I was trying to do is an overview. So the blue are driveways that stayed on there, and then the orange these are where it got reduced. So just like the driveways we're talking about, whenever you have those, you're able to take these intersections a lot quicker. So when you tighten this up, what you do is you lessen the amount that you have to walk across the street, so it's safer for your pedestrian. So, and then also what it does is whenever you come up to a tighter intersection, you have to take this intersection slower. So that way you're reducing your speeds down as well. The reds are the ones that were removed and that you can come through. So this is from Roosevelt Taylor to Pilchard here, and this is from School over to Lafayette here. So as you can see, those are the spots that were moved and changed in the blues, and trying to consolidate down to what we're talking about, that access management, to try to get that down. So our next one. So this is Jackson to Montgomery. You can see the blues, the ones that stayed, the reds are removed, and the oranges you can see of where we tightened in those, how the design tightened in the intersection. So that's kind of how it was done. So what does that mean big picture wise we're talking about? So we're 4,900 feet from the start to finish of the project on there. So the original length of driveways was over 2,200 feet as far as that goes. So you can see how much that was. So that's the length that you would be, if you tried to walk from one end of the project or the other, that you would be in a driveway. So what we did, the design, what it did was reduced it down to where now we're at 876 feet of driveways. The other one is road crossings. So this was the original road crossing. This is what it's reduced down to. And so this is what you would cross a road whenever you came down through there, if you made it. So percentage of it. So before you started, which we didn't have sidewalks from one end to the other. We tried to walk the pieces on the other ones. There wasn't sidewalks everywhere, but if you did have it, so it reduced it from you'd be in a driveway 30% or a road 30% of the time to now you'd be in one at 16% of the time. So this makes it where it's much safer to walk down and really turns it more into a city street versus a highway. So this reduces your pedestrian vehicle complex by half. That's what it's doing on it. So, all right. So the access management policy, talking about it, if you want to cover it or.
This is our last slide, by the way. I'll be very brief. I know we're all tired, but as I was thinking about this project and this update, I was kind of reminded of the vision of the corridor. And to me, there's two goals that make this project possible. The first is the infrastructure. Nobody is going to develop $10, $20 million into this corridor unless there's an infrastructure to support it. And so that's everything Chris just covered. Vice Mayor, 7 inches of asphalt on the road, brand new water, brand new sewer, brand new stormwater. It's new from end to end. So the box is checked. It is available to be redeveloped. But then the second goal is really how does the end user experience the corridor? And that's kind of what Chris has been talking about for a few minutes. How do you experience the corridor if you're in a car? How do you walk? How do you bike? How do you scooter, if that's your thing? And so I think that to do that, you have to be very intentional with the design. This doesn't happen by accident. And so if you think about this corridor contextually, it's surrounded by residential areas on both sides. Aldermen Pocup, people can walk from October Hall Gardens to 182. Alderman Vaughn, when you get out for your walk in the mornings, you got a safe place to do it. And so it needs to be safe, it needs to feel safe. It's also a stone's throw from downtown, which we're spending a lot of money there. It has a daycare, it has a church, it has multiple churches, it has a school. And so this place is primed to be available to anybody that wants to use it in any way, but that doesn't happen by accident. And so the reason I'm telling you this is the way this corridor was shaped, the reason it looks the way that it looks. When you get questions about driveways or when you get questions about why did this happen, it goes back to access. The primary way you develop this environment that I'm talking about is through the access. And when I say access, I mostly mean the driveways. That's what I'm talking about. And so the city has an access management policy. We've had this for about 7 or 8 years. It was adopted from MDOT, so we leaned on our state brother, and they leaned on their federal brother to create this document. And so that's where it came from. And we enforce this on all private and new development in Starkville. And generally it does three things. The first thing it does is it tells you how many driveways can your property have, and that is determined essentially through how much frontage you have on your right-of-way. It's a linear calculation. The second thing it does is it tells you where those driveways can be. So we try to push them as far away from intersections as you can, and we try to make them line up across the street with other driveways. Again, to Chris's point, this is reducing conflicts. And then the last thing it does is it tells you how big it can be. What is the geometry of the driveway? So that's what it does. And then the goals of the policy are to improve safety. I think we've kind of covered that. They are to actually make traffic flow more efficient. I think that this sounds a little bit buzzy unless you give an example, but Alderman Brooks, you know about this example. If you think about Montgomery and Highway 12, you have CVS on the northeast side, you have the gas station on the northwest, Slim's Chicken is above it. I've frequently seen that cars will be northbound and they want to turn left into the gas station. And they can't turn left because traffic is backed up for miles on South Montgomery. And so it pushes traffic into 12 and it's stopped, it's gridlocked. This policy prevents situations just like that from happening. And so it really does improve your efficiency and your traffic flow. And then finally, it supports redevelopment. It helps things from a planning perspective just be safer and more uniform. So why am I telling you this here after the end of a long board meeting? It's because whenever this project was developed many years ago, from a conceptual perspective, the engineering department and the consultant took this policy and they laid it on 182. And they said, what does this look like for this corridor from end to end? And another way to say that is if any of these parcels had redeveloped, what would have been required based on this policy? And so that is how these plans were developed. That's why it looks the way that it looks. And so I think that it's a really good look for the city. It's a good foot forward to say we have followed our own policy, we've practiced what we've preached, and furthermore, as development does come in, the template is set. We have said this is where it needs to be, this is what we want it to be, and so I think it's really a good foot forward to say that we are doing what we ask others to do. And so I think that I have waxed poetic enough on this, but that's kind of what I wanted the board to know is why this looks the way it does, because you're all getting questions and we'll get questions about it. So I'm gonna step back, I'm gonna see if there's any questions from the mayor or vice mayor board, and we're here to answer.
All right, thank you
Yes,
to you
ma'am.
both, appreciate it. Any questions, Vice Mayor, let me give you last hit at it, because
Sure,
I know
sure,
you
thank
have
you, sure, thank you.
some things you wanna say. But anyone else wish to ask any questions or speak to either one of these gentlemen? Mr. Pocock.
I don't have any questions. I wouldn't know what to ask, but it is evident that you guys are incredible. I get to talk about you two and Stephen a lot because I get asked a lot of questions. I'm like, one thing I don't question is the expertise behind these projects. So thank you both a ton for all the work that you do. I don't know where you keep all that knowledge. I don't know what half of what you said, but you've got it also. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Alderman,
And real quick, I just want to say that y'all are very good at being engineers, but you have become very good at being money managers as well. And you've had a lot of balls to keep up in the air and money to get spent by a particular time, and you're doing a great job of that. And that doesn't happen without help from the city clerk's office and from Webb. And I just applaud y'all for managing all that on top of everything else that you're doing there.
well deserved, and I brag on you all the time, so. All right, anyone else? Vice Mayor?
Sure. Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Mr. Williams, just one question before I get into what I'm gonna say. What's the projected date at this time for finalizing the finishing of this project?
It'll be early 27, or it'll probably be springtime. Like I said, it's a workday project. So if we have a monsoon that lasts a month, it drags out for that portion. So I can't give you, hey, for an example, Main Street has a calendar day project, so it's December of whatever our date is, and that's hard. So this one will be early 27.
Before June 1, roughly,
Yes.
2027.
Minus barn weather.
Okay, great. Mayor, let me just bring this to a close. Let me just say, Mayor, first of all, thank you for putting this matter on the agenda. Before I get into your comments and Mr. Williams and the engineer, let me just take this opportunity for this record on this fourth day of November of 2025. I want to commend everyone who has been involved with this very high-profile project. This has been a major undertaking of this great city. A lot of individuals have been involved with this project. This project is a game changer for our great city of Starkville. We are very fortunate with the leadership of our current board and all who have made this project a reality. Want to give special thanks to the mayor. I'm familiar with her having gone to the nation's capital to exert leadership with regard to getting the funds with the bill grant and the raise grant to help this financial aspect of this project. I do recall one of our honorable senators being present for the groundbreaking. We have to give facts as to where facts are to be articulated. I remember the Honorable Cindy Hines Smith was here. As a matter of fact, I spoke with her and talked to her. And you recall, Mr. Engineer, she was here and talked about how a lot of municipalities would be pleased to be in the position where Starkville, Mississippi is. Mr. Williams, you are to be commended for your articulateness, your meticulousness with this project, being very detailed, and your presentation certainly did not disappoint the Vice Mayor. You clearly understand the engineer what it takes. That's why you are assigned by the mayor and the engineer to this project. Just continue to keep up this work. We have a lot of faith and confidence in you. As I said, the leadership of the mayor, took her working so untiringly to get the money that with the support of the board, we believed in this project. We walk by faith in a biblical sense and not by sight, because we love this city. This project is a transformation of this city. This project will long live and long last our lifetime, and that's why I mentioned on the record that with this almost $45 million, we're gonna have the mayor's gonna ensure we have a very nice, beautiful plaque that's gonna be erected in the proper place, that will be in a manner where it'll be undamaged, untouched, where it will showcase those in this administration that did all these things. And Mr. Williams, I'm really excited about all of the infrastructure, the roadway, the casings, all of the dirt work, all of the placement for all of the electrical wirings, all of that very detailed engineering aspect. You gave us a great view of the project from the beginning all the way down to almost at the location of the Family Dollar / Dollar Tree now. I'm very grateful of all those things, including Mr. Engineer. You know, you and I talk roadways very regularly. The 7-inch of asphalt, you gave us a demonstration how that looks as comparing to the street work now. And Mr. Engineer and Mr. Williams, I noticed you spent a lot of time about the access management policy. And Mayor, let me just say to you, as you and I dialogue, all these things are friendly, because let me say before I mention that comment, this has been very phenomenal work. The work has been that of greatness. There's nothing disappointing. You understand the mission. And when this project is completed, we don't need the mayor to get a call saying we got a leaking water line. There's been a sewer line. I mean, we're going to have a special call meeting if we get that report. and let Burns know that now. They got sufficient money. They're abundant. We're excited about this. And let me just say this. This is not a negative, Mayor, but I'm just so pleased with every aspect of this project. I just wish one thing, Mr. Engineer, and let me just direct that to the mayor. Mayor is all friendly with this. Everything is so immaculate, so well laid out. Thank you, board, for your patience tonight. We're not tired. Mr. Williams, we don't get tired. We enjoy this. We enjoy what we do. We don't get tired. But Mayor, I just wish, and we're going to continue. You know, we're not perfect in our planning, but as we continue to plan with future projects, I'm just hoping we can maybe look at that policy, you know, so we can eliminate any potential questions about our access management policy. And that's nothing negative. I think I need to put that out there so that can be addressed for the record too, you know, because as you travel down that roadway, there's some direct access to properties, and there are some you don't get direct access. So you have given your explanation on it. So hopefully in the future, as we have some other policy projects, that it'll eliminate any potential, and that's a key word, any potential appearance of not allowing access to all. But nevertheless, that is not going to overshadow what we have done. Mayor, I'm very proud of it. I want to thank the Alderwoman from 1 for her support, the budget chair, the gentleman from 3 and 4 and 5, and the gentleman from 7 who lives in close proximity to the project, and businesses are in progress of trying to get there. As I mentioned earlier, Mayor, the project near the Dr. Connor old office building, they're trying to get that worked out now. That's going to be a game changer. And we're going to continue to move forward. Mayor, you went to Washington. I tried to get on the plane with her, but she told me I need to stay here. But I'm just kidding, a little humor there, Mayor. But you went up there and got all that taken care of, and it brought a sitting senator to Starkville, Mississippi. That is powerful. I'm trying to, Mayor, that is powerful. So we're going to keep doing that, and I think we're almost 50%. I think about 46% maybe, roughly, with the work complete, approximately. And so about another good calendar year, about another year and a few months, we complete. And it's because a lot of infrastructure you got to do at the intersection of 389 and slash 182. So, Mayor, let me just say to the staff again in closing, Mr. Burnett, you've been very remarkable. Mr. Williams, we appreciate your rare expertise. I mean, you every time I talk with you, Mr. Burnett, I'm just further impressed with your abilities and your technical knowledge. How you just got into that. You explained that to us, so we as laypersons, non-engineers, can understand it. And I followed you because you broke that down so well. And a lot of professionals, they like to give you initials, and you have to leave the session still not knowing what they said. But I appreciate that, Mayor. Thank you. I mean, you've exhibited great leadership tonight, as always. You know, you've allowed that to get presented. I have to give you. We talk straight. You know, you've allowed this to get presented without any urgency. So, of moving forward, that is, trying to get through the meeting, and you're to be commended for that. And I'm excited that we have lived to see this. It's like in the closing statement, the press is still here, I believe, that this is the most expensive dollar amount to any project that I have witnessed since July 6th of 1993. That's when I started, Mr. Williams, about 32 and a half years ago. We have never had any project of this magnitude. Never, 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 and never. And even before I took the board as a native Starkvillian, I'm not aware of any project that has been brought to the city of this dollar amount. And that reveals the vision that this city, this mayor, and each of my colleagues has. This reveals their determination. They're walking out on faith, their desire. And we didn't give up because the dollar amount kept changing. Well, it was this amount that time. Well, where are we going to get the money from? We didn't give up. We had a can-do attitude. We believed in it, and we're going to make it. We're going to get into the end zone by June of 2027. Mayor, thank you. I yield.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor, and I appreciate you bringing it forward because it truly is a project that's worth this kind of information and level of detail, and also acknowledgement that it is the largest thing that we have ever done, and it's transformative for the city. And we've done a lot of things that are transformative, but this is probably the largest. So I appreciate that, and we will have another opportunity to do it as we get further down the road. We'll do it again so that everybody can see where we are at that point in time. So thank you both, and we really do appreciate the expertise you bring to the city. All right, well, we can proceed to the claims docket now. Do I have a motion for the claims docket?
So moved.
I have a motion from Alderman Moreland. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Pokup. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we have one item, which is the disciplinary item recommended by Fire Chief Dwayne Davis as a result of IA number 1027-2025 for a Starkville Fire Department employee. Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Alderman Vaughn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. No, I'm going to recognize you. I'll ask for discussion in a moment. I'm sorry. Second, Alderman Sistrunk?
Either one.
Okay, well, I heard Alderman Sistrunk. So, all right, discussion.
Mayor, I just want the record to reflect, Honorable Clerk, I'll let the record reflect that I'm voting nay because I'm of the opinion that termination is appropriate discipline. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, no further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, motion carries, and that takes us to the end of the agenda, which I think was a very rewarding experience. We will have a call for a work session, which is in accordance with the notices required in the Mississippi Code annotated 25-41-13. The board will have a work session on Friday, the 14th of November, 2025 at 11 a.m. That meeting will be held at City Hall in the second floor conference room located at 110 West Main. Notice shall be provided of this work session within 1 hour of the meeting by posting such notice at City Hall. Notice of the work session shall be made a part of the minutes of the board meeting. The work session will be an open public meeting of the City of Starkville, and the public and press are invited to attend. Do I have a motion to recess?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Vaughn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Skinner. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are in recess. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the cake.